Hi, welcome to another episode of Hazmat Harder, an industrial strength podcast focused on hazmat and emergency response in the industrial field. As always, with me are my co-hosts, Jeff and Randy. I'm Steve. I'm a hazmat technician with over 3 years of experience as a tech and over a decade of experience in the industrial field.
Well, hello, Steven. My name is Jeff. I have a ton of experience in a lot of stuff, and yeah. Randy?
That is so generic, man.
Yeah. You thought it was simple this time.
My name is Randy. Hazmat specialist. I have 18 years on our industrial fire department, mainly doing hazmat. But Steve, today, who else do we have with us?
I was going to say, today we're in for a special treat. We actually have a special guest with us, and I believe this might be our first guest ever on the show, for those of you who have been watching, who has some experience in our particular topic today, which is time, distance, and shielding. So, right. Sean, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Sean. I work as a technical specialist at a radioactive materials facility with over 8 years of experience.
Awesome.
Yeah. If I remember right, Sean, you reached out to us initially after our episode on Bulging drums because you had written that you had a similar experience in your industry, which piqued my interest because we don't deal a ton with radiological issues. So when you reached out, I was fascinated by what you had to tell us. So,
well, thank you.
So tell you what, how about you start off by, how about you relate that story out to our listeners? And I'm sure we'll have a bunch of questions to pepper at you throughout it. So, but.
All right, thank you. So the incident we were talking about, we had a drum that had a slight exothermic reaction. One of the things that we do with radioactive waste, especially liquids, is you're really not allowed to dispose of radioactive liquid waste. It has to be solidified with just your run-of-the-mill absorbents or concrete or whatever's available. Mm-hmm. And we had an individual use some absorbent that ended up producing an exothermic reaction. They put the lid on the drum, and as the heat and pressure built, it actually bulged the ring of the drum and shot the lid straight out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bad day.
Yeah. Decent amount of pressure.
Yeah.
So obviously, open head drum probably tolerates a little less pressure than our closed head friends. Let me ask you one question on what you've said so far. Do you guys have more than one type of material for solidifying liquids?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is it depends on the pH and the chemistry of the liquid.
Okay.
I mean, you can use anything from your standard oil dries to concrete, perlite, vermiculite, whatever you can use really to soften up.
Okay, yeah.
So we use a lot of that vermiculite in our stuff. So,
yeah. So I was just interested that you have make because we use just that one type vermiculite almost exclusively. So I was just also interested if you use more than one thing and why. So
yeah, like I said, it all just depends on the chemistry. We're also using waste lock there for a while, which it works really well. However, it also depends on the salinity of the product that you're working with. Okay. So if you have a high salt content, it just won't bind.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, fair enough. Because, I think like there are some spill socks that are like that, where they absorb liquid pretty well, lock it in, but you hit it with salt and it completely reverses and destroys the absorbent.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like a bad day.
Sure could be.
So I gotta ask.
So you had this drum, and they mixed it. It had an exothermic reaction. They sealed it up, and it popped the top. What did you guys do with it then?
So that's when we kind of had to put on our emergency response hats and begin to clean it up.
Okay.
Yeah, fortunately, because it was in a, let's just say, semi-solidified state, the contamination really didn't plume out in a large area. It was pretty well contained. We mainly just had to clean up the concrete that shot out everywhere.
Okay.
So how do you go about doing that?
Yeah. So, because like for us for spills, I know like how we choose our garments and PPE, but like this being radiation, I'm assuming there's got to be like a whole different layer or maybe a whole different set of PPE.
So with radiation, it's actually much simpler because primarily we're dealing with subatomic particles, or as I call it, microscopic dirt.
Okay.
The good thing with that is, so when we're dealing with particles, we're typically just going in with Tyvek suits or whatever insert brand that you use here. And then for respiratory protection, we can use typically your P100 respirator cartridge.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it makes life a lot easier. Now, if there's a secondary chemical element to it, then we have to upgrade it. But if we're only dealing with radiological, P100 cartridge, especially on a PAPR, is the best thing for it.
So then it sounds like maybe you guys are working with a bunch of alpha emitters, maybe?
Alpha, beta, and gamma.
Oh, wow. You got a whole gamut of things.
Man,
the whole
you're running the gambit
wide
there.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't deal with neutrons that much, fortunately, but
That's a good thing.
yeah. The suits will protect you 100% against alpha as long as you don't have a tear in the suit, obviously. Beta particles, they can, the radiation can penetrate the suit, but we're not looking at it from a contamination standpoint because typically the energy will go through, but not the contamination. And gamma is just going to go straight through.
So
There's
are you
really
wearing?
nothing you can do unless you wear a lead suit.
Yeah. Are you wearing monitors to monitor that then?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Like
Yes.
dosimeters?
So we wear two different types of dosimetry, which are radiation monitors. The first one looks like a small pager, and it acts similar to a gas meter. It's called an electronic alarming dosimeter.
Okay.
And we set based off of what we're dealing with and what known activities, dose rates, things like that we have. We will set those to a certain alarm point. So if we see a dose rate that's higher than we expected, or if they pick up more exposure than we expect them, it'll actually alarm like a gas meter and tell them to get out of the area.
Oh, nice.
All right.
And then those
So
are
then
also
when-
recorded at the end of every shift, so we know how much dose everybody gets.
So then, if you're in those kind of suits, what do you use for the decontamination when you get that all cleaned up?
So 99% of the time, unless we're dealing with something extremely hot, we typically do a dry decon method.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, basically just roll your suit inside out as you go.
Okay.
Now, the difference with us is if we're dealing with a potential high contamination, we'll actually wear two suits. So we'll have...
Okay.
So we'll go with like a lighter Tyvek material for the inner one, and then we'll go with a heavier water resistant for our outer.
Okay.
And then we do typically two sets of booties. So the other thing is too, instead of going with the typical hazmat boots, we just use shoe covers.
Oh, like
because we don't have to worry about
like a
breakthrough
Tyvek
time
shoe
or
cover
something
and
like
slip
that.
cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll do multiple sets of those, so we'll actually change those out as we work or as we're exiting an area. We'll just take off because typically the most contaminated thing, just like in a hazmat incident, is going to be your hands and feet.
Correct.
So we'll typically go in with 3 or 4 sets of gloves and 3 or 4 sets of shoe covers, and we just strip them off as we exit the area.
Okay.
And then if we're doing like a zoned approach, we'll even strip one of our sets of coveralls before we go to the next section.
Okay.
So then, as you get to the decon stage, how are you checking for any contamination? How do you verify that you don't have any of that contamination on you?
So what we do is we actually wait until we fully get out of our suits, and then we proceed to a nearby what's called a frisk out station.
Okay.
Which at that station there'll be a meter to monitor the appropriate type of radiation. So if we're dealing with an alpha or a beta, there'll be the appropriate detector there, and then that person will do a whole body frisk. So they'll check their self head to toe. Make sure that they're all good.
You already piqued Steven's interest by a whole body frisk, so.
Yeah, we'll do a whole body frisk. Oh, you're fine. And then immediately after that, they'll proceed to a whole body decontamination monitor, which is a big detector array that they will stand in for a set amount of time between 8 to 15 seconds. And it will actually do a whole body count front and back on the individual for alpha, beta, and gamma.
Oh, wow.
Let me ask you a question. This is probably more for my ignorance, but like when we do radiation stuff at work very infrequently, we have like a handheld meter, and like the very old one we have has two types of like sensors, like a tube and a pancake.
Yeah.
So is that similar to what you guys use when you're doing the frisk search, or do you have something different?
So we use the pancake primarily.
Okay. All right.
So you don't use the anal probes.
Well, Jeffrey's out at this point.
That's a deep decon. No one seems to go into your line for that deep decon, Jeff. It's weird.
Weird. Okay.
No, we have a whole separate thing we do if you get an intake.
But okay, so you use the pancake.
There's the answer. Darn it.
That's what he was looking for.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so our whole body monitors, they're actually sensitive enough that if you did inhale a gamma emitting radionuclide, they can actually detect that. That's why we do a little bit of a longer count when we go through our monitors.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, out of curiosity, and this is once again from my ignorance, like I know like with regular gas meters and stuff, they have regular calibration they require. What do you do for those meters that you guys use for radiological stuff?
Yeah, that's a really good question,
Yeah, so we actually source check our meters. It's similar to a bump test.
Mm-hmm.
So our meters are calibrated on a regular basis, depending on the type of detector and the sensitivities and all that. We go by manufacturer's recommendations. But every day we do a what's called a source check.
Okay.
So we have an instrument guy. He goes around to all the meters and he'll check them against a known source with a known activity to make sure that, one, it's responding properly, and two, that we're actually getting in the range of counts where we should see with that source, so we know that it's accurate.
Nice. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so just like a gas meter, bump check and off you go.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
So do you have to have a certain protective gear for the bump checks? Because it's obviously really. It's a known product, I guess. Yeah,
so we do wear our dosimetry when we're handling that. So it monitors if we do get any radiation exposure, but the sources that we use for that are typically very low. And the reason why we do that is because we want to make sure that it's going to see a lower activity and be more sensitive at that lower range, because with, like you said, with a LARA, you want everything to be as low as reasonably achievable.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so we do that. We also have air monitoring systems that'll pull an air sample and check it in real time for alpha, beta, and gamma emitters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those are called continuous air monitors, or CAM systems.
Okay.
And we can deploy those. We have them on all of our containment buildings where we could be doing a job with high removable contamination, but we can also deploy those anywhere in the buildings that we need to do at our facility.
Wow, that's
very
pretty
nice. So, I do have to ask my ignorance, I'm trying to be politically correct. So, really, does radiation glow?
So, the only time that it glows is when you get what's called Cherenkov radiation, which is when the particles actually go through water at close to the speed of light, and it causes a blue glow. But typically, you're not seeing any kind of glow in a facility where we're at. Unless
so
you have a nuclear reactor,
so it's not green?
Extremely high source.
Steven, come on, man.
I mean, I think it's kind of a valid question. So when people think of radiation, they think of like glowing green, right?
Yeah,
you always think about that.
The Simpsons really isn't that accurate for radiation terminology.
Man, I believe the Simpsons all my life, and golly.
No, I mean, it's good to know, right? So, because I'm assuming that most of the time you don't even know how hot a zone is until your meters tell you how hot it is, right? Because it's all invisible.
Yeah, with radiation, the running joke is you can't see it, can't smell it, can't touch it, can't taste it, unless you start tasting the fillings in your mouth, then you got a problem.
Oh, jeez. That's awesome.
Oh, that is a good rule of thumb.
So you mean I shouldn't be using my 3-gas meter all the time?
No, not at all.
Got it. Yep, there's a joke there, yep.
Oh, man.
And actually with us in the nuclear industry, we actually do things a little bit backwards when it comes to monitoring. So if we're going into an unknown area, but when we go into an area, if we don't know what the dose rates or anything are like that, we'll actually go in with our meter set on the highest scale first.
Oh, okay.
Because with analog meters, if you're familiar with them, they have a needle that goes back and forth.
Yes.
Well, there is a delay when you have to go up to the next energy level or the next scale for it to reset.
Yeah.
If you're on the highest scale and you range down, you don't have that reset time.
Oh, beautiful.
I did not know that part.
Yeah, because that's all new to us. Once again, we don't do a lot of radiological, so that's a pretty good tip then. So you're not losing downtime.
Exactly. And
I see that
if
coming
you
up
walk
in next year's
and
trainings.
you see that your meter's automatically starting to swing up, you know that you're in a very hot area and you need to get back and reevaluate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask this.
Go ahead, Randy.
I was going to say, so when you're walking in with the meter, do you carry cones so you can mark the edge of hot zones as you go?
Yes. If we're doing something where we're going into a complete unknown, we will put markers out, or we'll actually use tape on the floor.
Ah, okay.
But typically at a facility like ours, fortunately, a lot of what we get is from nuclear power plants, medical facilities, industrial facilities. So we have a good knowledge of what's coming, because to ship it, they obviously need to know what the dose rates are, what the contamination levels are inside, things like that, to make sure that it meets DOT standards.
Okay.
So we can use that, and we can use the data that is provided by that facility to try to help us determine what kind of protections and precautions that we use.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Right, so then, with all your protection that you use, all your tie-back suits and everything, how do you dispose of that then?
So there's many different classifications of waste. For the case of PPE, that typically goes as what's called dry active waste, or DAW. And basically the easiest way to explain that is it gets packed into a metal container, so a drum, a box, a rail car, what have you, and it gets shipped off to be buried at a low-level disposal site, which is in either Idaho, Texas, the Carolinas, places like that, Tennessee.
Excellent. Okay.
So that kind of brings me back to your story about the drum that exploded. That was a open-headed drum, which we can kind of relate to in some sorts with our site. Now, is it always a metal drum then with these?
So they can be shipped metal or poly, depending on what type of materials being shipped, the activities. We've actually even gotten materials in fiber drum containers.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
I'm surprised about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Well, nothing surprises me after some of the stuff we've seen.
As long as you can meet the standard, it can ship.
I would be afraid that thing would rupture in travel. I mean, I know sometimes we get metal drums in at work and they are just wrecked from shipping. I can't imagine a fiber drum.
Fibers, even with it being a solid, I'd be worried that the weight would either crash out the bottom of it, or if it sits in the rain and exposes the material.
Yeah.
So fortunately, typically when we get radioactive material shipments, they're typically segregated from the rest of the shipments whenever we get them.
Okay.
So they're typically not not damaged as much, and normally the drivers don't want to touch those.
Much, though?
So
Wait,
Really?
they must not have any forklift drivers like we have.
oh no, we got some pretty good ones.
So, and then with that particular incident, being in a metal drum, you guys have any idea what temperature that reaction got to cause that pressure?
I don't know offhand. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Fortunately, that was done on overtime day, and I didn't know until after the fact.
So
Don't
you guys
know, don't care.
So, like, in your facility, when you're handling waste drums like that, and let's say something else goes spicy, do you guys ever use overpacks?
Yeah.
Like, is it a traditional overpack like we would use in a chem facility?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, once again, you're mostly trying to stop contamination.
Yeah.
The dose rate, we really can't do nothing with that until we actually get the part opened and see what we're dealing with. So we're primarily worrying about contamination spread, so we'll typically put it into an overpack container, seal it up, and then we'll put lead blankets or some kind of shielding around it just to protect us from that dose. And then we'll sit back and get another game plan.
Okay, because that was my question. Like, if you guys had to have, like, metal-lined overpacks or something, or lead-lined overpacks, just for that reason?
No.
Okay.
So if you're using lead blankets, though, you're not going to be able to reuse those. Where does the cost for that come from? I mean, that can be cheap.
So actually, with lead blankets, you actually can typically reuse them as long as you don't contaminate them.
Oh, okay.
So if we put it on the outside of the overpack, it's only stopping the dose. None of the contamination made its way to the blanket. So as long as you check the blanket and it's clean, you can still reuse them.
Oh, wow.
So it's not really consumable then. That's nice.
Correct. And then most of the blankets are made out of a similar to a semi-truck tarp material.
Yeah.
So it is very easy to clean. It's very rugged, so you don't have to worry about it tearing as easily, things like that.
Oh, very nice.
All right, so, but if you're cleaning... and this is my ignorance. If you're cleaning it, then you still have contaminants, don't you, or not?
Yes, but the secondary waste is significantly less. So instead of throwing away a 2-foot wide by 4-foot long piece of lead foil that's covered in that material, I can throw away 2 or 3 paper towels.
Oh, okay. Much less.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So then what do you use to clean it?
Your run-of-the-mill degreasers work great.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Okay.
That's...
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Actually, another thing that works really good is scrubbing bubbles.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I kid
simple
you
green
not,
the
when
crap out
I
of
go
it.
out on a road job, I keep a can of scrubbing bubbles in my road kit just in case I contaminate myself.
That's awesome. I would not have thought of that. That would be a go-to item.
Yep. Brake cleaner works great too. The biggest thing is you're basically trying to clean off, like I said, a tiny microscopic dirt. You can't see it, but you know it's there thanks to your meter. So you just wipe it, check it with a meter. If it's still there, give it another wipe. If you have to, you'll escalate to things like Scotch Brite and go up the ladder from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, been there before too.
Yep.
Because I think, like, the closest thing we have to on our side, and don't get me wrong, we have small radioactive things, but, like, when I think of radiation, like how difficult it is to handle it, the closest thing I can think that we have is, like, mercury, where it can get really, really
that's a
small to
nightmare.
the point you can't really see, but it gets everywhere and it's difficult to clean. At least with mercury, we have the advantage where we can heat it up and vaporize it. With radiation, that's not the way it works.
You're just making it miserable for yourself at that point.
Yeah. I mean, you could do the Russian method and just let it keep burning and see what happens, but
Just keep hiring
Pour
people.
some
It's okay.
vodka
You
in
got
there, it's
people.
all that matters.
as long as it doesn't go over 3.6 Rankine, you're good.
Oh my gosh.
So, let me circle back real quick on that. So, you guys carry dosometers. What happens if someone does catch a hot dose? Do you guys have, like, procedures where you get, like, certain amount of downtime?
So we are limited by our both our license and by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission on how much dose we can receive.
Okay.
And we track that very closely. So we also had administrative limits set by the company, which is well under half of what the federal limits are.
Okay.
But if we do have somebody who does have a high dose, so every day we monitor it, we make sure that everyone's going to stay under that limit. If they're getting close to that limit, we'll talk to them and their supervisor and make sure that they're not going to be working a hot job or whatever we need to do to try to keep that person under the limit.
Got it. Okay.
But if we do have something, so we wear two different types of dosimeters. So we wear that electronic alarming one I told you about.
Yeah.
If they will first look at that and see if it had any kind of mechanical failure, because electronic devices, you bump them, you get them wet, they can have some erroneous readings.
For sure.
So we'll look at that first. The second thing is we also wear a second dosimeter, which is called an optically luminescent stimulated dosimeter, or OSLD.
Okay.
Don't worry, it took me about 6 months to be able to say that in one shot. And that is actually a crystal that when it's hit with light, it'll release the energy to tell you how much dose you got.
Oh, okay.
And they actually can tell you not only how much gamma you received, but how much beta, how much went to your internal organs, how much went to your skin, the lens of the eye, etc.
Okay. That's super
Because we
impressive.
have different dose limits that we can get to, say, the lens of the eye and to also our extremities.
Okay.
We have dosimetry that we can wear as finger rings as well, or toe rings if we're going to be working on something hot, so we can actually pinpoint where we want them to monitor at.
Okay.
But we'll send those off immediately to be counted by a third-party accredited lab. So we have, and it basically takes a couple days, but we'll have a confirmation if they got a hot dose or not.
Wow. Okay. That's super interesting. I've never heard of like the finger ring or toe ring dosimeter.
I have not.
Yeah.
But it makes
I've heard of
complete sense
something
because
else
that's
that's
the
probably
extremities
not
you're going to get it
true,
most.
but I've heard of like ID badge ones, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are actually the ones that we have. So we have the little hexagon ones, and they actually have the name of the employee on it.
Yes. Because we use that for some employees on our site who work around x-rays.
Yeah.
So.
We also have special ones too if we're dealing with neutrons. They'll measure neutron dosimetry. We can also assign what's called a multi-pack, which is a whole basically pack of those, and we can say, okay, most of the dose is going to be low, so we want you to wear these on your knee, or we want you to wear this on your foot, or put more on your chest, things like that, so we can actually get a better dose assessment of what you're getting.
Nice.
Hey, Steven,
yes.
you can't go with what you're thinking. That's naughty.
I don't know what I'm thinking, but okay.
Just thinking about that ultra deep decon.
You know what I was thinking, and you know what you're thinking, so.
So, you said you guys typically wear multiple layers of Tyvek and stuff. So I'm assuming that means, say, for us, turnout gear, if we were to show up to a scene, is just perfectly acceptable in that case?
In most situations, yes. You still want to monitor your dose, but from a contamination standpoint, as long as you have your turnout gear on properly, with everything overlapped, with your hood on, SCBA, that should protect you from a considerable amount of contamination. Your chief's going to be very mad because now your turnout gear is basically going to be going and getting buried somewhere in the desert. But
it's time for a new set anyway.
That's actually
You're
why
only going in with old
our
gear.
local fire department, I always give them a couple cases of suits.
I'm sure they're very appreciative.
So I'm guessing it's frowned upon to do what I would prefer to do in, hazmat responses of just showing up in shorts and flip-flops then?
Yes, that's typically discouraged. And we also frown upon the old firefighter adage of copious amounts of water solves everything.
Oh yeah, not
Darn
for
it,
you.
man.
Solution to the
Sean, you're really
pollution.
killing it. You're really killing my vibe, man.
Now you have a giant radioactive lake. That's what you got.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason why we have dry chem extinguishers everywhere.
I bet.
Yeah, water still works. Come on.
So, actually, that does pose a good question. If something does happen and you use a lot of that water, you have to contain that water, correct?
Correct. So, like, for example, we were talking about deconning somebody. So if somebody is truly contaminated, like they had a bad day, they ripped their suit, and as Joe Dirt would say, they got the poop on them.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why in the industry it's called getting crapped up. But we will actually take them to a decon room where we have shower facilities. We'll have them shower to try to get the contaminant off of them. All that water is actually captured and put into a double-walled storage tank, which is then emptied and solidified.
Okay.
So that water is completely air-gapped from the municipal system.
Nice.
Got it. So
Perfect.
you
Yeah,
have
those
your
drains
cells
are
right
all-
on site there then.
Correct. It'll then be solidified or evaporated or whatever they can do to treat the water.
So that would be an expensive technique, though, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The running joke is if you're working anything nuclear, add another 0.
That's it? Just 1-0?
It depends on what you got.
Fair enough.
I mean, I've seen some of the bills we get from our environmental cleanups company. I can imagine it's at least 1-0.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's gotta
yeah.
be crazy.
Right.
Well, that's if it's low level.
All right, fellas. I think that's time for us. I think it's our half hour's up.
Well, we really appreciate you, Sean, joining
Yeah.
us. It was very enlightening, to say the least.
Yeah, it was a
Absolutely.
great discussion. Time flew by because it was so engaging. It was nice.
Yeah, I
Yes,
really
it's
can't
a
believe the time
topic
is
that we
gone.
don't deal with a whole lot. So, yeah. If you ever have anything else that you want to discuss with us, feel free to reach out. We'll have you back on for sure.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. Thank you.
And thanks for being our
And-
first guest.
And for those of you viewers out there, try and show this to the camera. As our guest, I believe we will be sending you a little gift here that goes towards a inside running joke we have on the show for those that join us remotely.
Yes.
Of a nice little logoed out Hazmat Harder coffee maker grinder we have here.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's like a parting prize. No rice-a-roni, you get a coffee grinder.
So, again, thank you, Sean. We really do appreciate you reaching out to us and being willing to come on to our show here and show some of your experiences with us, because it is something
It's
that we don't
it's
deal with
only
all
going to
day.
make all of us better at what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to come on and talk about something that a lot of people are just naturally afraid of just because they really just don't know what they're dealing with. And
Yeah,
they don't
just
really know
unfamiliar
the
with it.
science behind it.
Right, yeah.
I call it ignorance because I'd rather not know what I'm dealing with.
I'll tell you what.
I just call it plain
Well, that's a
old
good thing with
stupidity
radiation,
because
you
I don't
don't know
care what
unless
I
you got a
deal
meter.
with.
Fair
How
enough.
how about if people have further questions? How about we have them submit them to us, and then if they are radiological questions, how about we can then forward them on to our guest Sean? Does that sound like a plan, Sean?
Sure,
Would you
I'd be
willing to-
more than happy to help you.
I think that's a great idea. And as always, you can always send those questions and comments to us. Where, Jeff?
Oh, hey, you can contact us at hazmatharder@gmail.com. Woo, I nailed it. Yes, that's off guard, too. Darn it, I'm good.
Well done.
Well, you know, there's that saying about a squirrel finding a nut, so.
I got another saying, but I don't know if that's appropriate here.
That's our side podcast, is Pirate Talk.
The sun shines on a
solely
dog's
by
ass every once in a
Jeffrey.
while. Yes. Oh, shit. Damn it. We're close. We're close.
Perfect. And on that note, I believe that concludes this episode. We'll see you guys all
Steven,
next time.
what do we have in store for next week?
Well, next week, I believe we will be discussing some unintended chemical mixtures. What happens when vapors mix?
I like it.
Good
Stay
times.
tuned. It'll be a gas.
It's not smoke this time, I swear, but it looks like it.
Oh, shit.
So, until next time, Hazmat Harder, guys.
Hazmat Harder.
See y'all.
Take care.